Hi Booktube! So I'm here to do something a little bit outside my comfort zone as far as the kind of books I'm going to be reading this month, because I don't typically read a lot of horror books, much less like a whole stack of them, but I really wanted to participate in Horror Mayhem because it's honoring Scott Bryant of the Bookish Bryants. I really like their channel, and I really like Scott. I participated in several group reads with them, and yeah, he will for sure be missed. And so I thought, why not join in on this readathon as a way of supporting, and I do read, some horror books, just not a lot. But I just recently, in the independent bookstore day, I gathered quite a few horror related books. I was like, why not get through some of them? It's not, these horror books aren't all I'm going to be focusing on. I will be reading, it will be what I'm focusing on, but I am reading several other books to balance things out. Like, my normal, nonfiction or mysteries or literary fiction, whatever. I read all the other things, but this is going to be my official TBR. And so yes, let's get into the books. I will start with a couple of ebooks that I'm going to be reading, and this Haunted Castles: The Complete Gothic Stories. I heard about this through actually reading the introduction to Shirley Jackson's The Haunted of Hill House. Guillermo del Toro put together these Penguin classics of horror books, and this cover is very unique. But I've never heard of this collection or this author, but the praises were sung in the introduction. So, and I almost never read the introduction for classic books, but I did for this one because I've read The Haunting of Hill House multiple times, because Shirley Jackson is my favorite horror writer, because she focuses mostly on like the psychological horror, like maybe what you're perceiving isn't the actual reality, that kind of thing. But yeah, so interested in this one. I know nothing about it. And then, speaking of Shirley Jackson, I am going to be reading When Things Get Dark, stories inspired by Shirley Jackson. And this is edited by Ellen Datlow. And it has many more authors, it's saying, but the ones that are highlighted here, like probably the most well-known names, are Joyce Carol Oates, Josh Malerman, Carmen Maria Machado, and Paul Tremblay. I have heard of these authors, and I've read a couple of them, but yeah, I've heard about them through BookTube. But I'm actually, like, now I'm talking about this, I didn't pick any Shirley Jackson to read, but like inspired by Shirley Jackson. But I only have like one or two books by her left to read. So it's a good time to focus on other authors. And yeah, and I thought like a short story, like this one and this one are both short story collections. And so I'll be able to get to them throughout the month. And this other one, Anne Rivers Siddons, The House Next Door. I heard about this from, I think it was Randy Ray's channel. And sorry, I tickled myself, I swallowed wrong. Yeah, I heard about it through his channel. And Anne Rivers Siddons, I've read before years and years ago. I don't remember her writing anything scary. If I remember right, it was like women's fiction, like family dramas. So I'm very curious how this one is going to go. The cover is like spooky enough. If I remember her books correctly, they're like landscapes, but like pleasant spring, summer type covers, or so yeah, we'll see. And then for the physical books, most of these are ones I recently picked up at the independent bookstore day. There's a couple that I didn't purchase just last weekend, but they've been on the shelves. This I think I got from a little free library, Terror Academy. And this seems to be like a spinoff, or like, not spinoff, but like inspired by like the Fear Street and the Goosebumps, the R.L. Stein kind of books, because I don't know, something about it. This is by Nicholas Pine. School's out and your time is up. So I thought I tried to pick some that were like weather appropriate, because it's finally getting warmer here. We're getting more sunlight. It's not necessarily warm. It's going to be like in the 30s tonight, but it's warming up during the day, and it's really nice to have some sun. And so spring break, now I won't go into too much detail with any of these, but it's Welcome to Central Academy. It's like any other high school on the outside, but inside, fear stalks the halls and terror is in a class by itself. I'll have to report back on how this measures up to the Fear Street and Goosebumps and the Christopher Pike and all of that. We have Nightmare Hall, The Roommate by Diane Ho. This is one that I picked up on the Independent Bookstore Day. This is high on a hillside overlooking Salem University. Hidden in shadows and shrouded in silence sits Nightingale Hall. Nightingale Hall, the students call it because that's where the terror began. And then I had this cheerleader book, Night of the Pom-Pom by Sarah Jett. I just could not include it because it just seems, I don't know, the cover, like this girl, I don't know, something about it. I had to include it, and it's a really, really short. Let's see here. And then we have some Fear Street books, Lights Out and Sunburn. And I picked these because, like, again, fitting with the weather. This is set at a campground, Camp Nightwing. How very fitting. It says, it all happens in the dark. And then this one, it takes place at a beach. The Perfect Hand, or The Perfect Murder. And this is like beat up. And I mentioned like a lot of the books I got for Independent Bookstore Day was like my boyfriend, like he likes all these kind of books. And this is one I think he had as a kid, because this is one I didn't pick up that weekend, but it's like it's been through the ringer, and he's probably had it since like the early 90s. And then a Christopher Pike book. This is an author I don't think I've read before. Weekend by Sunday. They Were Just Trying to Stay Alive. So that is my stack. And I will say I'm like loosely following the prompts for Horror Mayhem. I think it's like read books or shorts. It's mostly focused on short fiction, and these count for short fiction because I think it's like under 200 pages was the prompt. And these, let me see what this one is, 227 pages. So this is probably one of the bigger books of this stack, and I'm not sure how big the ebooks are, but I think I'll manage to get through at least some of these. But yeah, let me know if you've read in these books or if you like horror books. Like I said, I'm a bit outside of my norm here with things, but that's one of the reasons I like participating on different reading events and readathons here on BookTube, because it gets you outside of your comfort zone, and it lets me pick things that I wouldn't normally pick up. And so, like, it also gives me the extra nudge to pick up books I just purchased. So that's always fun as well. But anyway, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, BookTube.